Greetings, Earthlings. Greetings, extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, Bigfoot lovers, tinfoil hat enthusiasts, and inner Earth inhabitants, and everybody else in between. This is Friday, May 31st, and you have arrived at the Strange Phenomena and Mystery Show. I am one-third of the Sisters Strange, Raven McMinn, and I have with me today Kai Greenway.
Hi, everyone.
And we have two very special guests for your delight and pleasure today. But before I bring them on, let's get you into the chat room in case you've never been there before. Go to 12radio.com, and on the left-hand side, you'll see a button that says chat. Give that a click. If you've never joined our group before, you'll see at the top of that next page that you'll be taken to join. Give that a click, and our wonderful producer, Christy, will let you in. And I want to thank Christy for producing us today. Give her a shout-out.
Hey, Christy.
Do we have any other announcements?
No, I don't think so.
It's just two of the three Sister Stranges today, because our other sister in strangeness is off on a Bigfoot chase. She heard some gunshots and thought that maybe, he might be in trouble. So even though at behest, I tried to talk her out of it, but for those of you that know Nancy Newman, when she has her mind made up, she's got her mind made up. So I just slipped a tracking device in her hiking boot. That way we can recover her if she's not back by, 2 hours or so. We'll know right where to send the search party. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to introduce our guests. They've been on our show before. They're just famous. They've been on Coast to Coast AM. They've been all over the place, and we just love having them so much. And they are the Ghostbuster Gals. Ronnie Foster. Ronnie Renee, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
There's Ronnie Renee. Yes. And we have Laura Lee Mistycah. Laura?
Yes.
All right.
I have to tell you, I was excited about this new show thing that you're telling us, that it will be Ghostbuster Gal Friday.
Yes.
Every fifth Friday of the month.
Right. Yes, every time there is a fifth Friday. That's yours.
That's ours. Ghostbuster Gal Friday.
Yes. You girls are so interesting, and the topics are endless of where all, we can go with the adventures that you two have had. So we just love having you. They have,
Thank you.
I'm not in the chat room myself yet. I'm trying to multitask, and I'm not very good at doing chat room and talking all at the same time here. But
I got in the chat room.
Okay. I'm going to get a book link up here, and I noticed when I went to your website that you now have a downloadable version of your book. That's something new.
Yes, well, we've had it for a little while, but we like it because sometimes when people are really having serious ghost problems, they can't wait to get the book in the mail, and so they can just download it. And they can get that on our website, or Amazon also has the download. And then it gets the information to them immediately, and they can start using it to help protect them in the house. So it's very cool.
Good. Yes. I highly recommend their book. I got your book years ago, and there's a do-it-yourself Ghostbuster chapter in here, people, that is very simple but very powerful. So if you've got some paranormal problems and don't know who to call or can't give them a call, here's how you can take care of it yourself. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wrote that section because so many people have issues, and there are ghosts everywhere. I mean, everywhere.
Right.
And they don't know who to call. It's like, really, who are you going to call? So at least now they have an opportunity to check it out themselves. It empowers them, and it gives them the tools that they need to clean up their area.
Yes, and it takes the fear out of it, because ghosts are just people without bodies.
Yes.
Good way to put it.
They're not like, they're not like ghouls, and Hollywood has done a huge disservice for everyone in the fear factor that's involved with it. It's just a person that doesn't have a body that needs our help.
Yeah.
Yes. That's in a nutshell. That's exactly what it is. Ghosts were people, that walked this earth.
Or animals. sometimes
or animals.
with
Yeah,
Or
we
animals.
have dealt with animal ghosts. And they are lost, they are trapped, they're stuck. And Laura Lee and I, we're really ghost rescuers. And we have had some nasty, creepy, ass soul ghosts, but that's because they were ass souls when they were walking the earth, and they retain their personality. So we do want to take the fear out of it. And then there's the other stuff, the WS stuff.
The weird stuff. Well, sometimes
stuff.
ghosts don't want to leave, from what I understand, and that's got to be particularly tricky for you. And you wanted to talk today about the cases that you've had where the ghosts actually know in advance that you're coming.
Oh, my.
And set up interference.
The plot thickens.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, and when you've got a ghost that doesn't want to go. Oh, my. Yes, do enlighten us. Tell us about this.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interference even ever since we started doing this work, because some ghosts are very happy where they are. They manipulate people. They suck their energy. They're just happy little campers. And we had, I think Laura Lee was the first situation that we had where we really got a major psychic attack when we worked on the rocket scientist.
If I remember right, that was the most memorable physical things that happened.
Yeah, because we had gone over to their place. It was local, and we did just a basic check of their house and just to find out what was going on and what we needed to do, and we realized it was a really, really big job, and we wouldn't be able to do it that day. And that night when we came home, oh, my God, Lily, what happened to you?
You got blisters on your nose. I had something on my nose, too, that was way worse than yours, and I didn't even feel sorry for you.
Thank you.
Everything is relative.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, here I was. I had this big, monstrous, huge, what looked like a zit, but it was like a million times bigger. It was like this pus-filled pimple and white pus that just appeared on my nose, and I was like freaking out. And I was whining to Laura.
She was, but hers wasn't oozing and
no,
like mine was.
Yeah, and your nose was like it was radiated or something.
Yeah, it felt like it felt like radiation, like burnt, and it was bad.
Yeah, and when a witch has the tip of her nose burned like that.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not good.
So
no,
not a good thing. So we realized that we were under psychic attack, and once I realized it, I realized this is impossible for something to grow like that. So I went through and uncreated my pimple. I just knew it wasn't real, and I was being attacked. I uncreated it, and it literally disappeared the next day, which is impossible for something like that. But it was gone.
Right.
Laura Lee was not so lucky, right?
Yeah, well, mine, I can't remember. I think it didn't go away till we got done with the ghost busting.
No, yours, it lasted for like 2
For
weeks.
years? I've still got it?
No. No, 2 weeks. No, I hope you still do. No, and then when we went to do the ghost busting, we found the main ghost there that was creating all this, and we called him Pop for some reason, and he did not want to leave. He was very happy manipulating these wonderful people. And when I was sitting on the couch next to the woman, who is the sweetest, kindest lady, she looked horrified. She looked at me like literally horrified, and she said, "Oh my God, the ghost is telling me to lean over and squeeze your little neck, just wring your neck."
squeeze your scrawny little neck was the word.
Oh, scrawny little.
Oh my gosh.
Why don't you go over there and just squeeze her scrawny little neck?
That's what the ghost told her.
How creepy.
Thank God
I mean,
she didn't.
do you try to convince them to go, but or at that point
that's
they're not moving?
That's a very, very good question. And Laura and I, we have different methods, but this is back in the beginning, and I'll just tell my part of it. I don't make and force a ghost to cross over.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. But we're very good at finding whatever it takes to help them cross. And sometimes if the ghost is not religious, we don't use Yeshua or Archangel Michael, who we use in almost all our ghost bustings. If they're Native American, we have to have different beings of light that come in, like White Buffalo Calf Woman we've had come, and other chiefs. If they're from Asian origin, we have to use whatever it is that means something to this ghost. When they see that person, that being, that they will want to cross. And sometimes, like in the case we've talked about before at the Amargosa, where we had the most horrible ghost ever, mean, tyrannical, vicious. I mean, it's such a fabulous story, and it is in our book, our Got Ghost book. We had to bring back his mother because nothing else was going to work.
Oh, she had to come back and yell at him.
Well, actually, what happens is they come back with such love that this monstrous, foaming, violent man who was spitting and nasty, turned back into a little boy. Because it's all about the love. When that amount of love hits, it is so strong, and it's that love that helps them cross over. And sometimes we've actually even brought back dogs, right, Lurley?
Absolutely. That happens a lot. Bring their pets back.
Yeah.
Wow.
So whatever it takes.
You try and find that connection.
Yes. Yes. And
okay.
a lot of
now,
times,
you said Laura Lee kind of differs in your thought. I mean, Laura Lee, do you try to push them? Or what's your different?
Some of the things I work with aren't earth people ghosts. They're like really, really, really weird stuff. And they're not from this planet, and some of them are fabricated or conjured or AI or alien or whatever.
Okay.
And some of them are soulless. They don't, they're not, there's nothing there.
They're more, so it's
what I do
more like
is
mechanical in nature?
Like the what?
They're more mechanical in nature, like
yes, AI stuff, absolutely. And so what I do is egg them, and then we found out recently that the eggs have been upgraded. The cryogenetics egg have been upgraded immensely. And what they will do, and it makes our work really, really easy, because we just egg them, and it's like it's like whistling for the eggs to come, and they come and they wrap up this ghost or whatever it is, and then they take off like a homing pigeon and send them back to wherever they need to go.
And why don't you explain for the people that don't understand what the egg is, actually what it is?
Very good. Because we
question.
talked about it in our other shows, but right. The cryogenetics egg is one of our tools that we use, one of our major tools, and it is a geometric configuration of light and sound and color and geometry and math and love and compassion. And it has all of those, and then some wrapped up in this very intelligent, highly evolved life form. And all you have to do is call it in and imagine it, and bam, it's there. And you can have thousands of them. They replicate. They're just off the charts amazing, and they're the actual spiritual aspect of the Almoricite rocks. So when you're working with the rocks and the egg, you've got both aspects, and you've got a heavy-duty protective protocol.
And the Amorosite rock is something that helps our ghost busting so tremendously, because we used to do bustings without these little rocks, and it was like going through Jello. It was pulling teeth trying to get the information, and it would take a long time. And then I'm sure Laura Lee got the brilliant idea to send little grid stones to our clients, little teeny tiny grid stones made out of this rock, which is not from this planet. It's a tektite. And they would put it around their house and set up a grid, and oh my goodness, it made all the difference in the world. We were able to get in there quickly, get the information, clean it up, and get out. So it stabilizes the energy. And that's why we always tell people, if they buy our book, Got Ghosts, we, especially on this radio show, because we love you gals, we will include a free set of grid rocks for anyone that buys the book from this show. So those are our tools that we use to help us. And the egg is mind-boggling.
It's kind of like it's a containment field.
Yeah.
Right?
I was just going to say, Raven, the rocks lock it in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the grid of the rocks lock it in.
And anybody can call in a cryogenic egg if they've got an entity problem, right?
Yes. I have to tell you something funny that just happened. One of my friends, my indigo friends, wrote to me just a few days ago, and she said, I don't know what's going on, but I'm using my egg, and it used to be white and pretty, and she says, now it's just like brown. And she says, what's the matter? And I tuned into it, and I said, you must be going through an awful lot of crap lately, because it's brown, because it's pulling the crap out of you. This yucky brown color.
Wow.
I said, you just watch and keep doing it, and watch and see if it doesn't turn white. So yeah, that was pretty pretty funny, because I thought, God, I wonder what's the matter. And then the egg says, no problem. I just turned brown because I had so much crap to pull out of her, and she needed to know that I was helping her. So that was a really kind of a cool story. And the eggs, Ronnie, should we get into the rest of the story about the egg?
Oh boy, there's so much rest of the story, but anything your little heart desires.
Well, I have to tell you, when I first wrote the book Cryogenetics, The Simple Secrets of Human Alchemy, the symbol for cryogenetics is this egg, because that's what it is. And I spent so much time perfecting this egg. It had to be perfect. And one of the most important parts of the egg was the diamond at the bottom. I didn't know why. I didn't understand it. I just knew it was vital. So I did that. The book was printed. The egg has been on my website. It's all over the place. Well, then recently I wrote Cryogenetics. It's a upgraded version. The first one was just a limited edition. Well, I redid it, and after I had done it, and I, everything was the same. Well, then I have on our website, there's you can get things like cryogenetics egg blankets and glasses and all sorts of fun things on our website. And so I had bought a fuzzy cryogenetics egg blanket to put on my bed. And I had just made the bed, and I went over there, and I was looking at it, and I thought, well, maybe the nap is kind of weird because that looks more round than like a diamond. And I'm just like, messing with the nap, and I'm like, God, what's the matter? And then I went and started looking at all the pages in the book, or all the pictures of the egg that I have, and I was shocked. They all had a circle instead of the diamond at the bottom.
It
I thought I was
changed.
going nuts. I thought I was going absolutely nuts.
Wow.
So I went through everything and found a copy of the original book, and it's a diamond. And I'm like, holy crap, what is going on here? Well, then the explanation that I came up with is that there is a Mandela effect, and it affected the egg.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really upset at first because I thought I'm going to have to recall everything, reprint the books, redo everything, because I knew that this diamond was essential to the function of the egg. I was upset. Well, then,
So you thought it was a misprint?
I thought somehow, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I was like sleepwalking and changed it or something. I don't know what I thought. But it was freaking me out. I was freaked out for days. And then, maybe a year later, I was going through some of my old files, and way back, right after the first edition was printed, that's been like in the year 2000 is when it was printed. So we're talking almost 20 years.
Right.
I found an advertisement that had the egg on it, which was right after the book was printed, and it had a circle on it. And I'm like, holy crap, how could that happen? Because I thought, well, maybe it was something stupid that I did when I was reprinting. Maybe for some reason, I don't know, I got possessed and put a circle on there and didn't notice it, and then here we are. But when I went back and found the advertisement that came out right after the book came out, that I had not done anything with the egg was the only egg I had ever worked with artistically, and it was a circle. I'm like, okay, so here we have, in the last 20 years, different eggs, some with the diamond, some with the circle. And what I was getting is that it is a Mandela effect. Now, there's one thing that my guides were telling me, and that is that if that diamond spins not just left to right and up to down, but kind of on the corners too, so it looks like a atom. How
Right.
Okay. When
Right.
it does that, it turns into a circle.
Right,
And
because
then,
the perimeter is then a circle.
Right, because then it turns into a circle. And what I was getting is that the diamond is the feminine aspect, and the circle is the masculine, or the rock, or so the circle is like a manifestation of the physical rock, and the diamond is the more feminine aspect, which is the cryogenetics egg.
So for anybody that is in the chat room, I went ahead and posted.
I was just saying thank you. I was looking all over for it frantically as we were talking.
Yeah, I thought, well, people need to know what the heck she's talking about, because unless you see it, it's really hard. So there's a picture of it, and this one has the diamond in it, and It's just a sample of the weird stuff that goes on in our universe, and
So does one just
and how
visualize?
things shift.
Now,
What was the question?
Does
About
do you just
visualizing?
visualize this
Yes.
coming
Visualize.
in?
And if you're not very visual, some people say, I can't visualize anything. Then what you do is just call it and ask it to come and encase you. And then you'll probably feel something. Some people aren't as visual as they are tactile.
right.
And then you'll feel it coming around you, and you'll feel warm and fuzzy, and you'll start getting a relationship with it and understanding it that way. So it's not anything you have to buy. It's there 24/7. Like I say, they can replicate. You can have thousands of them. If you're going into some really horrible environments, whether it's a work environment or what it is, and you feel like, see, what I noticed in the beginning was that when I was in really, really harsh environments, the egg would kind of wear down after a while, and I'd have to usually I'd do it every day, and that was okay, but sometimes I'd have to do it like every hour. And so then I would put layers up, so if one of them got worn out, there'd be another one to replace it. So just know that they can replicate, and it's not like you can only have 10 in your whole lifetime. You can have as many as you can think.
Oh,
Me
good.
too, because we really think this tool, along with the rock, is one of the greatest things out there to help support people in the weird stuff category.
Yeah, they saved my life many, many times. I wouldn't be here. I know I wouldn't be here because of some of the things that these eggs have pulled me out of. And they can do that for you guys too. Whoever uses them, get to know them. And like I say, now we used to have to ask them or tell them what we'd like them to do, and now we quarantine a ghost in there, and they just take off and take it.
Well, you've built a rapport. You've built the rapport up.
Yeah, and they've been upgraded.
They've evolved.
They have.
They really
they
Now-
have way evolved.
Now, do you think that this change with the Mandela Effect is part of their evolution?
I think so, and what I think is happening to the eggs is the eggs are how they always have been. They have just been able to put in these new applications because of our evolvement.
Okay, so they're
couldn't have-
keeping pace. They're keeping pace with the user.
Yes, the more that we can understand, the more they can do. And they keep, I find new things out all the time just when you think, okay, well, that's just it. Then they do something like wild and crazy and new and improved. And I just shake my head. And in fact, what we call the new improved eggs are badass eggs because they can do anything.
They're
Love
bad.
it.
They are.
I have a question. Now, you said you wrote the original book in 2000, and then you look back, and did you find the point in time when the picture changed with the
I
circle?
don't know because the original book, actually, I'm trying to find it here. I think the copyright was in 1999.
Okay.
And I'm going to have to put this on my website. I'm going to have a Mandela Effect page.
Yeah, I have one of the original books right here, and it's got a dot.
I was just wondering if the change happened to coincide with an Earth event or maybe a personal event in your life, something that you can relate time-wise to the change.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that because, Ronnie, you have the original.
Well, I
2000.
think
I don't think you do, because unless...
No, this is the copyright 1999 and 2004.
Okay, that's the newer one. Okay, that's not the old
so
one.
somewhere in between those two dates.
Somewhere in between those two dates, and like I said, I was shocked when I found the advertisement that I know I would have seen and said, wait a minute, that egg does not have the diamond in it when we were doing our advertising. And this was like a month after the book came out that we did this advertising.
Right.
And it had the dot, and that just shocked the heck out of me. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, it was like a year ago, about this time last year, that I really started to hear a lot about this Mandela Effect. And I checked, they were talking about how there was a passage in Isaiah in the Old Testament that had changed, where it talked about the lion will lay down with the lamb, yada, yada, yada. And now the Bibles say the wolf lies down with the lamb. So I have this 100-year-old Bible from Ireland. And I dig this thing out, and I look it up, and I mean, I got goosebumps on top of goosebumps. I freaked. I'm like, what is going on? Because I just kind of, I would hear a little bit about Mandela Effect here and there and just kind of, yeah, whatever, just never really paid much attention to it. But that made me sit up and pay attention. And I think it was about a year ago, they talked about a timeline collapse, and that now we were on a positive timeline. And wasn't it about the time that everybody was afraid that North Korea was going to nuke a city in California, and then
you think it was that recent, Raven?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, there's been other Mandela Effect things, but the latest timeline collapse was like a year ago.
Okay.
Well, there have been a lot of timeline
shifts,
upgrades, and I know I personally, with the indigos that I'm working with, have been going out and finding the timelines that are corrupted and are no good and just going down. And it's like moving everybody into the new and improved timeline and then just clipping them off. And the egg has been able to help me with this. And I know I'm not the only one that's working with timelines. There's a lot of other people doing work on them. But I know when I work with the egg, it's not going to do anything that would be destructive or counterproductive to our, what I would say is our best destiny timelines.
Right.
And so and there's going to be more. And, with CERN doing its stupid thing all the time, there's people trying to make things more crazy here, and then there's the people that understand it and know how to fix that stuff, doing things to counter their measures.
Right.
I have to tell you something funny. Remember when CERN, it's been about a year ago, that CERN was getting ready to launch this new, improved system.
The super, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then nothing happened. And found out that a weasel had chewed through their major cables and shut the whole system down.
I love it.
Somebody wrote to me and said, yes, the cosmic cleanup crew is here, even in weasel form.
Undermined by a weasel. How funny, how appropriate.
Yeah, because the weasel goes like undercover into the enemy camp to discover what's going on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was classic.
I could fix this myself. I don't have to report back.
Yeah, that's right. It's like those stupid humans. Hell, I can go do that.
That's awesome. Now, can you call in an egg for someone, a loved one or a friend or a pet, or does that infringe upon their free will?
Nope, it doesn't. We do that for our kids and our clients, don't we, Ronnie?
Absolutely. I have clients that sometimes at night I will egg them every night and clean them up and help support them and add, depending on what kind of energy, healing energy or balance or whatever it is. Yeah, energy, healing energy, or balance or whatever it is. Yeah, they're handy little tools that.
And it depends on the client too. Ronnie has a client that couldn't do it for herself. She's not in a mental state to be able to do
No,
that.
she's mental.
No, their
She's mental, all right.
their
No, and
original intention was there that you could help them.
Yeah, that's the key. But yes, this woman that Laura Lee's talking about has been in and out of mental institutions, and
but when Ronnie would work with her and do that, she would change. Her personality would change, and she'd be more stable.
Right.
It would help. We just did a client last night, or was the night before, and we were having so much trouble getting information for this young man. He's only like 26 or something, 27, and he was having some very serious health issues. And so Laura Lee and I were doing our consultation together, and we're having problems.
It was horrible.
Getting information. We're like, what the heck? We couldn't get in. We couldn't, we get little bits and pieces of things. And it's like, oh, something is wrong here.
And I just wanted to say, let's just forget this. Let's try tomorrow. This isn't working.
She was ready to say that. Let's try tomorrow. And it's like, no, this was the son of a friend, and I said to her, maybe we're having problems because his chakras are like so wide open, and his core, or core star, as Laura Lee calls it, his core star is like, I'm saying, there's something wrong.
He did not have rocks, or his house wasn't gridded.
Yeah, he didn't have the rocks with him either.
So that made it way worse.
Yeah. And we're still struggling. But, so I said to her, why don't we see if we can shut his chakras down and get his core star going and see if that helps. And, of course, we can't shut anybody's chakras down, an adult, without their permission, without their full permission.
It's an inside job. When we work with people to shut down their chakras, we give them the tools and we walk them through it and hold their hands. But I very rarely, well, except for this time, will shut somebody's chakras down.
Yeah, because we've done it with children.
Except for with children.
Yeah, but they can't. And children that are constantly getting bombarded with ghosts and other entities entering them, crystal kids especially, are so open to it. And when we shut their chakras down, it really helps. So I asked permission from this young man's soul to shut his chakras down and continue our work. And I got a resounding yes. It's like, okay, cool. So we did the work. We shut his chakras down, got his core started going, and all the things internally going. And all of a sudden, all the information came to us. We were like laughing so hard. It's like, oh, okay, we can see the ghost. Okay, we can tell what's going on. We can see, because he had a shove-in. He had actually a ghost inside of him. And people call that possession, and we literally coined the term shove-in because that's what it is. The ghost actually takes advantage of someone and shoves right in and takes over. And it was causing extreme physical issues with this young man because this horrible ghost he had inside him, it was bad.
Well, I have to cut in. Sorry, Ronnie. When we were having horrible problems trying to figure out how to help this kid, all I could get was it was connected to the AMA somehow. I thought, that is the most random, weird thing I can even think of. I didn't know how. I couldn't get into any more data except for somehow it was connected to the AMA. Okay, Ronnie, you can keep going.
No,
That's strange.
That was kind of an important little tidbit. I mean, we kept getting little tidbits of information, but nothing concrete and nothing solid. And so when we found this ghost, and it's funny because Laura Lee and I, when we go check on stuff, we do it separately. She gets her stuff, I get my stuff, then we come back together and see what we got. And so I got that it was a doctor that was just a really not a very nice person.
Surgeon.
And I didn't get surgeon.
That's
No,
what I
you
got. Sorry.
surgeon. Yeah, I just got the doctor part, and that he had his own physical. He had pancreatic cancer, and I mean it's a long story. But when we got back together, Laura Lee said, "Oh, I got that he was a surgeon." It's like, okay, well I got he was a doctor. So there we have it.
A psychopathic surgeon
Yeah,
that was on the AMA board.
and that's
Oh,
where
wow.
that came. So the cool part is we were able to clean this kid up, get that guy going, clean his field, and do everything that we needed to do. And this young man really was always feeling very sick, very tired, very hurting. And then the next day, I talked to his mother, and I said, "So how's he feeling?" "Oh my God, he felt so good this morning.
Mm-hmm.
He just feels like a whole different person, and I slept so well last night." And so we were able to use our tools, get in there, do what we needed to do, and clean him up so that now he's back to normal. You know, that's how simple it is when you have a ghost inside you.
And
Wow.
this ghost was ruining his life.
Oh,
And when I say this ghost was a psychopath, he was creepy, nasty. It's like he loved to do surgery because he could cut people up. He was just a sick and twisted man. And this young, our client, this young man was a very kind, compassionate person, and to have this asshole inside of him was crazy making. It was wearing him down to try to shut off the chatter of this evil, nasty ghost. And the poor kid didn't, you know, he was doing his best, but it was wearing his body down because of all the stress and the confusion that this kid was having. So and I was just thrilled when Ronnie called me and said that he was doing so much better instantly.
Sure.
See, this stuff can happen instantly. It's like when I had the baby cow shove-in that I got rid of, and the results were absolutely instant. And you can't say, "Oh, well, you know what? It probably would have happened anyway." Oh no, I'd be dead from ice cream if I hadn't taken that out. Death by ice cream. Because I was having heart palpitations really bad. I had to sleep almost sitting up so that my heart wouldn't have the extra stress on it. I was in bad shape.
Because she was eating so much yogurt and so much ice cream and so much
butter
dairy
and
products,
cream and
shoving it in her face.
Shoving it in my face.
Yogurt.
We have a question in the chat room from Alishaya. She wants to know, so how would a person know if they need an egg, or can anyone visualize one just as a safety precaution?
Yes.
Good
Anyone
question.
can visualize it. You don't even need to know it. I use an egg around my entire property every single night. I ask the egg to come and protect my property, protect my animals, every single night. And, you know, even if you don't think you need it, it helps. What it also does is it pulls off all the emotional debris that people pick up by just going about their life. You go to a mall, you go to a supermarket, you're walking down the street. You know, if you're sensitive, you can pick up all this emotional crap from other people, and sometimes you don't even know it. But then you start getting irritable, and you start getting tired, and sometimes it's just that debris that's on you. And by imagining yourself inside that cryogenetics egg, with that little round, that spiral DNA helix going up your back, and your head's at the top, by the, you know, towards the
star
point, and then I just say turn on, and I can physically feel that gunk coming off of me, and sometimes my body will just shiver as it all comes off.
Yeah, that little shiver, that little body shiver.
Yes, it's like perfect. And the egg will then neutralize all of that emotional debris and junk that doesn't belong to you right on the shell of, as it's coming off of you. It just neutralizes it and it's gone. And it feels good.
Well, and just to intercede here, I've had several people write to me and say, well, see, I can see that there's just 2 strands of DNA on the helix, and, I think we have more, and, and I write back and say, those strands are like fiber optics. There's tons of them, little teeny tiny fiber optic looking strands in this DNA helix. So there's a bunch of them.
Right.
And depending on what you need, the strands will be different or more or less or whatever. But it's just know that it's a very complex system that keeps upgrading. I had a friend say she was out doing hunting down psychic assholes that were on her tail, and she said all of a sudden she had an egg in her that wrapped around her hand, and she was holding on to the helix while the egg just kind of encased the rest of her arm up to her elbow. The star came out, and it was like a laser weapon.
Oh, wow.
And she said it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Now, understand that the eggs have their own set of awareness, and if you try to go out and hurt somebody with the star, and if they're truly not an asshole, nothing will happen. It'll shoot blank. Just so you know, it has its own integrity level that is off the charts, phenomenal, and it's impenetrable. And just like with the rocks, we in the beginning called them wishing rocks, because if you put your conscious intent and your wish into the rocks, and say, rocks, please, I need to find a really good airline ticket or whatever it is you're wishing for. The rocks will then it's like go out and do your bidding, because you are the conscious intention behind the rock's power. Now, if you say, I just hate my neighbor, I want her to have boils.
Right.
It's not going to work. It'll just shut up and it'll say,
what a witchy
oh,
thing to
yeah, I'm not going to participate in that. So because when I first got these, I had a Native American shaman kind of do some research with me. And he says, I really love your rocks, but I have to ask, he said, he had some shaman guides that were not of this world, and he said they're wanting to know what protocols or safety mechanisms you have in that egg, so if it falls into the wrong hands,
it can't be used.
Yeah. Exactly. And I asked the rocks and my guides about that, and they said that the rocks have integral. You cannot schmooze them. You cannot coerce them. Their integrity is impeccable, and they will shut down. And I have never seen the rocks work in the 25 years that I've been working with these rocks. I have never seen them do something that was inappropriate ever. And that's saying a lot, because they have been going to some pretty crazy off-planet weird weird places to help us indigos do our work, and they're impeccable. It's probably one of the few impeccable things that we have on this planet to work with. I don't know anything that's more impeccable than these. And if you have crystals that need to be cleaned, you can just set them by a rock and say, would you please clean these for me? And you come back later and you inspect the rock, and it's all crystal clear. So they're just amazing. I just I'm just
So
amazed every day.
I was going to say the word powers of the rock, but I was
you
searching.
can call them, because we used to call them power rocks, because that's
Okay, okay.
like the X-Men.
So
Power up.
power up, right? So the power of these rocks can traverse dimensions and other planets and work.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
They are interdimensional. These rocks are not from this planet and not from this dimension, and they're not even from this universe. They're from way, way far away. And so they know how to get around. I just feel like we're really lucky to have them on this planet. Personally, I feel like we'd be screwed really bad if we didn't have them here to stabilize things. We'd be in a horrible mess here. I mean, It's messy now, but it would be way worse without the rocks. And that's my opinion. But that's what I have observed, and I don't know how we would have gotten, us as an Indigo Nation, how we would have ever gotten this far in our joint missions without these rocks to have our back.
Yeah.
Right.
And then how would we even be ghost busting? And
Oh, we would be a mess. We used to have to take tons of minerals and take naps. If we do ghost busting, we were out
Exhausted.
for the next day or two. We were exhausted. We could not, Ronnie and I could not do the work that we do as fast as we can, as efficient as we're doing it, if we didn't have the rocks. We'd be in bed half our life, wouldn't we, Ronnie?
yes. Yes. That is so true. And then these little grids, that are made from these rocks, Lorelei has people all over the world setting up these grids around power places. And the one I think that's really cool is the Vatican got gridded. And not long after that, Francis became the Pope.
Exactly. And that's when all of the
Look at the truth
improprieties,
and justice.
right, of all what was going on with the priests, and those stories started coming out, and they were getting lawsuits, and it's like truth and justice. These rocks are the stone of truth and justice, and that's what happens. When you set up a grid, if all you say is, okay, turn on and may truth and justice abide here, that's all you need to say, and that pretty much will fix any problem that you might have. So, yeah, the stone of truth and justice.
Stone of Truth and
Very,
Justice.
very cool.
I'm getting your websites posted here in the chat room. Now, where can someone go, like myself, that has your book but not the stones? Is there a place on one of these websites that people can go to buy the stones if they already have your book?
It's on. You can get it on the Ghostbuster website. There's a link there.
Ghostbustergals.com.
Ghostbustergals.com.
Okay.
There's a link there.
Okay.
And also in. Oh, sorry.
Nice ringtone.
Better
than mine.
Sorry about that.
No, did you hear mine about fun?
Yeah.
See, this is
Mine-
so typical with our interference. It's like
I never get phone calls ever. Nobody calls me.
Mine?
no, and it's just to give people an idea that there's when things are really going good and people are getting ready to get something that's going to really help them and take the fear away and do all these things to help evolve their souls, they just get brain dead. They say, oh, I want to buy that book. I want to get those rocks, and then boom.
Something distracts, that interference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ladies,
but your people are good.
Yeah, I want to thank you both for being here today and looking forward to seeing you on the months with the fifth Friday.
Ghostbuster Gal Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, thank you for having us back, you guys. You gals.
Thank you,
rock.
Ronnie. Thank you, Laura Lee. Thank you, listeners and those that joined in the chat for the Ghostbuster Gals, Raven McMahon, and myself, and Nancy, who's out Bigfoot tracking. Thank you for listening to Strange Phenomena and Mysteries here on 12radio.com. Have a lovely, safe, and only good ghost weekend. So, bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.